All right. So, Jiri Prochazka is set to be the backup for UFC 320. Alex Pereira trying to win his belt back from Magomed Ankalaev, who is a fucking boring fighter. But anyways, Jiri, we're we're gonna read the article and then I'm gonna tell you what I think about Yuri being the backup, and I totally forgot to pull up his record. I'll do that after. Jiri Prochazka is set to face Khalil Roundtree at UFC 320, but he'll pull double duty. I cannot read. Holy shit! That week, that week, just in case he's needed. The former light heavyweight champion is expected to serve as the official backup for the title fight happening the same night when Magomed Ankalaev is facing Alex Pereira trying to defend his title. Prohaska's team confirmed the news to MMA Fighting on Monday after he first mentioned his additional role when speaking to Yahoo Sports. The UFC often employs backup fighters just in case disaster strikes and the main event takes a hit, but this is even easier with Prohaska already scheduled on the same card. So, this is very interesting, right? I'm just gonna pull up this article. I don't know what's not you spell. Um, there we go. So Yuri Prochazka, 31-5. He he had an insane uh career. He's one of my favorite fighters, one of your favorite fighters. But started off his career 4-1, got knocked out, racked up 2 wins, lost again, and then he went on an absolute tear apart from his majority draw, and he got into the UFC after winning the Rising belt at Rising 15. Fought Volkan Usman in his debut at UFC 251, and the rest is history, right? He won the belt off of Glover Teixeira, which Glover Teixeira was dominating him that entire fight. But then Jiri Prochazka found the rear naked choke. And Glover Teixeira, I've been saying this about Alex Pereira, and I'm going to tie that back to the fight with him and Uncle Ive. You know, when he lost to Alex Pereira the first time, first of all, that fight was my most anticipated fight by far. Again, both kickboxers. Yuri was really, really good. Really fun fight style. But he lost, fought Rakic, knocked him out, and then got knocked out twice actually by Alex Pereira. Now he is going in after knocking out Jamal Allen, which he dominated that fight. Um, you know, when you have a guy like Yuri Prochazka, who his character is purely a character, right? He goes and trains, he posts or whatever it is Instagram to get some views, make some money off of the Instagram, and then, when it comes to fight, he gets his big payday. And that's something that I feel a lot of fighters don't pay attention to, right? Where, when you get into the UFC and you're fighting for 12 and 12, I think they bumped it up to 20 and 20. But when you're fighting for that little money, and you have no other option but to fight out your contract and try and get a better contract from Dana White after you know you do whatever you do. When you win the title, and this is a part where fighters don't really see, you don't need the belt to be a star. Max Holloway, prime example, won the belt really young. Actually, might as well pull up his thing here. He won the belt really young after, I think, what was in. Yeah, he lost to Conor McGregor, and then went on his massive tear. And he arguably beat Volkanovski in at least two of those fights. But he just beat Dustin Poirier. He's injured for the rest of the year. He got knocked out by Elite Poirier at featherweight after knocking out Gaethje. Phenomenal performance, last second knockout. And then he retired. Korean Zombie fought Arnold Allen. But what set Max Holloway apart, kind of like Colby Covington, but again, he actually fucking fought here. So you know when you are a guy who wins the title early and then loses it, like Jamal Hill, right? Jamal Hill came on for the Contender Series. I believe wasn't he the first Contender Series champ? But I'm pretty sure it was. Um, but the problem with the UFC now is activity. These fighters are not fighting. We have top contenders only fighting once a year. We have champions who are only fighting once a year. Again, Islam Makhachev has been so dominant in his career, but he only fights once a year, typically. Now he's fighting JDM in November to go for champion status, right? But you know, it's really interesting to me where this light heavyweight division is really at. So we obviously have Magomed Ankalaev as champion, and we got Carlos Solberg, who is fighting Dominic Reyes this week in a what? Carlos Solberg. Yeah, I thought he was fighting Dominic Reyes. Whatever. Um, but you see Pereira fighting for the title, Jiri fighting Roundtree, Olberg. Oh yeah, dude, I don't know what I'm saying. Olberg, he just beat Jan Blachowicz. Yeah, Jan Blachowicz. That's right. Who Jan, after winning the title, you know, fought Uncle Ivan that decision, and then ever since then has lost to Pereira and Olberg. But he arguably won his fight with Pereira. You got Dominic Reyes, who, you know, probably my favorite story in the UFC right now. The fact that he went against John Jones and he he won. Everybody in the crowd thought that he won, but the judges ended up giving it to John Jones because of the fact that John Jones truly believed he won that fight with Dominic Reyes back in 2020. The question is who should. The question isn't who should Dana White pick as his champion. The question is who does which fighter goes to Dana White the same way Connor did and say, I want to learn every ins and out of this company. I want to become a double champion. I want to do what has never been done in this sport. And Connor did exactly that. Won two titles, fought Floyd Mayweather, made $100 million, and just said, fuck it. I'm happy. But, yeah, man. Let me know, what do you think about Jiri Prochazka being the backup fighter for Alex Pereira versus Live coming up in October? It's still a tricky fight to me. It really is. You know, I do believe that Alex Pereira training with Glover Teixeira is very underrated because of the fact Glover was a former champ and he has, if not close to the most submissions in light heavyweight history. Let me know what you think down below about Yuri being the backup fighter. And do you think, quite like UFC 303, Yuri will have to fight Pereira for the third time? But the question is, can he get it done?